Millions of years ago there was a great land in the sky. People with great powers lived among the clouds, the stars, and the sun. These people were all happy, living a carefree life, except for one. A young man lived alone on a cloud, far away from all the others. He despised the other people because they never wanted anything to change. "Change brings good," he said into the silence. The silence didn't reply. After a while, the young man realized that something was nearby that wasn't there before. He excitedly ran out of his home and was shocked to see a giant world resting in the sky among the clouds, the stars, and the sun. It was different from anything he'd ever seen. As he took a better look, he realized that on this world were plants, animals, and water, so many things he'd never seen before. The young man decided to visit this world, and as he landed on solid ground, covered in green grass, a fox approached him. "You cannot be here," the fox said, looking up at him. The young man was confused. "Why am I not able to visit?" he asked, taking a look around. It was then that he realized that he was the only person from the sky on this world. "I am from the sky as well," the fox stated. "The beings that I created are not accustomed to seeing people such as yourself. You must become one of them to be here, and you may be here as long as you wish, if you do as I ask." The young man nodded and used his powers to become a wolf. The wolf and the fox lived together among the other animals for a very long time, but eventually the wolf became bored again. Nothing ever changed on this world as well, and it was very annoying to him. One day, the wolf awoke from sleeping to find that he was no longer a wolf, but once again a young man. It was then that he remembered his powers and decided to make a change. He looked towards the fox, who was still asleep. If the fox created this world, anything that happened to it would indeed happen to the world and its inhabitants. He put his hands on the fox and used his powers to create change, and it was suddenly very cold. Looking around, the young man found snow on the ground and no leaves in the trees. When the young man looked back at the fox, it was now awake and was angry. "Why did you do this? My world is now changed," it shouted, biting the young man on the leg. He floated above the fox's reach and laughed. "Finally, I have found what I have been looking for. I will use this world to create time. Time will create change," he said, floating higher in the sky. Using all his powers, the world began to spin, taking all the clouds in the skies and stars in space with it. When it finally stopped, there were now elders and children, and minutes, hours, days, weeks, and months ruled over everything. As the young man, the father of time, landed on the ground, the fox began to shout at him. The fox was now old and dying. "How dare you do this? I will curse you with the same fate as I," it shouted. Suddenly the young man was now very old. In a panic, the old man created the night, giving him the darkness in which to escape the fox. He flew back to the clouds and returned to his home, realizing that it was the only place where time didn't exist. From his home, the old man watched the fox die, and in its death it became the moon so it could keep the world safe during the night. For the rest of eternity, the old man counted the minutes, the hours, the days, the weeks, the months, and eventually the years, forever cursed to watch others change, but to be too afraid of death to change himself. The end.